Hey man, say man, y'all already know what it is. The big boss hog, boss dog, can't poke through the door. Here to talk to this box. Forget my soliloquy. Remember, tough times don't last. Good people do. Don't know if yourself. Call that mental health hotline. Remember, y'all matter. Peak game. Peak game, 84s and what's one. Y'all know what this is. We clutched it, we clutched out. You know what we're talking about. That boxing. But before we get into the main entree, the main dish, gotta introduce our second host, future Hall of Famer, Bodie on the hustle, aka Coach B, and salute to all our soldiers. Let them know how you doing, man.
Like you said, we clutched up, we clutched out. Y'all know we're here to talk about that boxing, man. Hey, y'all know what I'm finna tell y'all. I tell y'all this every time. Hey, God wake you up, he put breath in your body. Everything else is extra. Get up, do you, take care of the fam. And with all that being said, I'm gonna pass it back to K Poe. Let's continue the show and let's let them know how we flow.
All right, man, we got some bad news, man. Some bad news. It was a card that I was looking forward to. So Sebastian Fundora has an injury, or he injured his hand in sparring. So they basically canceled the whole card. On that card, they had fights like Oshaki Foster versus Cool Boy Fulton. They had Frank Martin coming back fighting, I believe, Bartholomew. It was going to be a good card. So it's scrapped right now. It's postponed. Hopefully, they can come up with some in the future. But, Coach, let these people know, like, how do you feel about, this fight card being scratched? And talk about from a coach's perspective, when your fighter has an injury, how that can mess with your fighter, and how you as a coach got to keep him upbeat mentally. Let me know something.
First and foremost, it's kind of, I wouldn't say disturbing, but it's kind of upsetting that this card was canceled because, like K-Paul said, this was going to be a decent card in my opinion, for the same reasons K-Paul aforementioned. But I really wanted to, see the Oshaki Foster and Fulton fight. I believe that's a good matchup stylistically. I believe both of them match up against each other well. Both of them possess the tools and the necessary athleticism, IQ, et cetera, to actually get in there and compete against each other and possibly pull out a win, excuse me. To me, in my opinion, that's a 50-50 fight. I like it, like I said, and if I had to pick somebody in this fight, I would lean towards Oshaki Foster because of his skill set. He has a very unique and talented skill set we don't see too often in today's sport of boxing. Yes, he utilizes the Philly Shield, but at the same time, he utilizes it when need. It's not his normal preset of what he always goes to. Ashaki Foster is very versatile, and I'm not talking down on Fulton either. He's a very versatile fighter as well. So, like I say, it sucks to see this card, postponed it and not happen due to Sebastian Fundora's injury to his hand. Since I'm already touching on that subject, pause, no freakies in for the fact. Let's go ahead and get into how I would react or how I would put forth my best foot to get my fighter back into the best mental shape and physical shape after learning that you have a fight with the Keith Thurman, who we all know will be going into the Hall of Fame, and all of a sudden, boom, you get a hand injury during camp, outside of camp, whatever it is you do, you get an injury. But anyways, me as a coach, I'm always up to par with how my fighters are doing. When they come in, I'm looking at them right away. How did you start your workout? Did you start with stretching, or you just went right into hitting the bags? If you going right into hitting the bags, I'm finna check you mentally. I'm gonna come up to you. Hey, what's up? Why you skip the actual warm up with the stretching? Why you didn't skip your rope? Why you didn't shadow box? Why you didn't do the normal things we do before we get to hitting the bag, hitting the mitts, or whatever else we doing within that days of training? So I'm gonna check them mentally. Are you good? Something going on at home? You need help with something? Is there family issues? What's going on? So I'm gonna check them mentally. First, you got to check on them mentally, especially if they skipping an important part of the workout. Next, I'm gonna look at how they're moving within the warm up of the workout. I'm gonna look at, hey, you seem like you favoring that right shoulder. You seem like you favoring that left ankle. You seem like you really not trying to. What's up with the left hand? You just shadow boxing. You're not really throwing it. Is there a reason why? So I'm asking questions. I'm always trying to be up to par with my fighters and their health and their mental well-being. That comes first. You got to make sure their mental health is up to par, and then next their well-being, and then next you make sure their workout is up to par and they're sticking to the plan. But that's me as a coach on how I would operate and how I would move. But to be in a camp preparing for a fight with the Keith Thurman, or a fighter, or a fight in general against anybody, to get this close, to get, almost to that point to where you're prepared to fight, and all of a sudden, boom, you sustain a hand injury. Mentally, this could, disturb a boxer mentally and very deeply emotionally. Because it's one thing to do all this stuff just to be prepared, but then when you actually start going into camp to prepare for a fight, you as a team and the fighter enter a different realm of training. You enter a different mindset. So with this injury, it could give fighters setbacks, and some major, some minor. Especially if it's a reoccurring theme, it can turn into a major setback mentally. If it's the first time happening, it still could be a major, setback, because it's like, why me? Why did I get injured at this time? Why now? Because I was ready for this. I was born for this. They got all these different juices flowing through their mental and their veins, and they're ready to fight. And all of a sudden, boom, you sustain a injury that makes you have to give up your card or postpone the fight or whatever the case may be. So me personally, like I said, I'm checking mentally first, then I'm checking on the health. Then I'm sometimes I even get into wealth. Hey, your wealth good. As coach, one on one. My business is your business, and I got to make sure you're good. Is there something you didn't get taken care of that you may need help with? I can't give you the whole thing, but I can definitely help you with it to make sure we are on the right track heading into a fight 100%. That means the family's good. That means the mental is good. That means the physical is good. That means everything is good. That way, when we get to the ring, there's no outside distractions. But that's how I would move as a coach, and I'm gonna leave that just like that.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate, man. From a fighter's perspective, man, I've had injuries. Looking forward to fights, and it do mess with you from a mental standpoint because granted, I never was a professional fighter, but you're eager to showcase your talents, and when you get an injury, it's just like you feel like you let everybody down. You know what I mean? So I only can speak from a fighter's perspective. I know Sebastian Fundora is a champion. He's looked at as one of the best at 154 pounds. But I kind of got a feeling how he feel. He probably feel like I let my coach down, I let my team down. You know, let my fans down, getting this injury. This was a fight card that, I let other fighters down, because boxing is a sport where, you know, only 1% of them get that $1 million payday, right? Everybody else getting, thousands, some getting hundreds. You know what I'm saying? So, when you're on a fight card like this, that, you know, potentially could be a good card, and you got to sit back down for until they announce whenever this card is going to be announced again. It could be frustrating, and it could be financially frustrating. Now I'm pretty sure that some fighters, not all fighters, but some fighters got if stuff in the contract to where if a fight gets postponed, they may get a certain cut of money, but it's still not the full amount of what you could make. So all I can say is for fighters who are dealing with injuries, keep your head up. It's not your fault. It happens in any sport, football, basketball. I mean, me and Coach both play football, so we know what it's like. You from a mental aspect, you feel like you fail. You know what I mean? But I wish a speedy recovery for Sebastian Fundora. And I hope that they're able to come back to terms because this is a good fight. You know what I mean? This is a real good fight, and I want to see is Keith Thurman going take that young lion out, or the young lion going to overcome the old school. So we're gonna see. Hey man, man, you reached the end of the podcast. Man, we talked a lot of good boxing on this episode. Y'all stay tuned for part two. You know what I'm saying? This is the genesis, this is the beginning. I told y'all the channel's growing. Me and Coach B can continue to stay on people here like a fitted cap, and that's what it is. But continue to like, comment, hate, and subscribe. We ain't running for no smoke. Remember, we clutched up, we clutched out. You know what we're talking about, that boxing. Haha.